My battery's low, so I gotta keep this short, but it's the day before Christmas and it's warm. I don't know what the temperature is outside, but I had a sweater on. I had to take it off, and I'm not hardly doing any work. I just actually started moving these totes over here. What I'm planning on working on, is building another goat house here in this goat yard. I haven't exactly determined where I want it. I want it on somewhat of an incline, but not very much of one. But at the same time, I'm also trying to figure out where the best place to put a cabin is in this yard. Because even though I'm not doing the retreat anymore, I'm still keeping an open mind to the possibility of doing the retreat in the future. Because if times get hard, which we anticipate they are, you know, we're going to need to come together and start, doing things more as a community and whatnot. I haven't found anybody who's actually willing to do any work, but, potentially in the future, maybe that might be the case. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm keeping an open mind, and so I'm working on building a goat house in this yard. I want to, every goat yard will also be a potential living quarters as well. And so what I'll do is I'll build a cabin in each of the yards and put up like horse fence, a 50 by 50 horse fence around each cabin. That way the person staying in the cabin will have their own little 50 by 50 yard that they can do whatever they want, pretty much whatever they want in. And then the goats can run in the half acre or whatever yard around it as we rotate them. And of course, we could be potentially growing crops in those yards as well. So in between rotations, we may or may not be growing crops in those yards. So I'm taking all this into consideration and figuring out where the best place would be for this, that, and whatever. So I might be building the goat yard over in that corner, because the cabin may actually end up being right here where I'm standing now. Not sure yet. But so yeah, over between these persimmon trees and those juniper trees and that oak tree is where I'm thinking about building the goat house. And it's basically going to be like this other one, except bigger. This other one was an experimental that I did. It's basically a 4-bedroom house for the goats. Each bedroom is the size of a tote. And yeah. So like I said, this one's going to be bigger, but this is basically what I did. It took me a couple months to figure out how I was going to do it exactly and to get it done all by myself. But it took me a minute, but I finally figured out how I was going to do it, and I got her done. Basically, the only thing I bought was the screws. I think that's the only thing I bought was the screws to put it all together. Everything else was recycled material. I may have bought these too, but I got them real dirt cheap. The pallets I had to go fetch. But as you can see, I even recycled these little boards from the lumber yard. And I used them as the 2x4s to tie certain pallets together. So even this was donated. Everything in the carpet was donated. Well, we went and got that out of a dumpster, but same difference. It's all pretty much recycled. So I'm basically going to do the same thing over here with these totes and pallets. I won't be using the Chet pallets. Chet pallets are for these tanks. These are the water tanks. This one here is falling apart, so I'm gonna have to restack this once I use up that water. So I'm gonna build another stack, and once that gets low enough to where we can move it, we'll move it. But anyhow, that's their emergency water. I got tons of rainwater collection, but if for some reason we have a drought, which occasionally we do, or we have a mild drought, we got these this tote water for backup water. And when this gets low, I fill it up. These will have cattle feed in them in the winter. They're it's basically watered down cattle feed for extra nutrients and sustenance. But anyways, and then these lick tubs along this fence are just regular water because the neighbors got cows, and I don't want them breaking down the fence to try to get to the cattle feed. So I just have regular water here, and I'm color coding them. This one might have a crack in it. Doesn't look like it's holding water. But anyways, all the white ones are going to be along here, and then the colored ones will be down that way, and the colored ones will have cattle feed. And the red ones, I was going to do something else with them, but they may go in the mix with all the other colors. So anyways, here's all the pallets and the totes. Cageless totes. But, and then I'm basically, some of these valves and stuff are still good, so I'll take them off. Like this here is a ball valve. I'll take a pipe wrench and take that off and keep it. This fitting here is salvageable, so I'll keep it. But anyways, so yeah, basically I'll build the frame around the tote, the plastic tote thingies, and cut holes in them, drill holes in the bottom so that if they pee in there or whatever, any liquid will go out. But this one's going to be 2 stories, so we can actually get in there better. That one, you got to kind of crawl in. It's only 4.5 foot tall, so you kind of got to scrunch down to get in it. Where this one's going to be, pushing 9 feet tall, so we can walk in there fairly easy, and then we can use the top ones for storage, for like hay and whatnot. And or, maybe the cats might want to live up in there or something, it might be an extended cat house. I mean, the cats have their own camper right now, and I plan on building them an official cat house. But, if we keep building these in such a way that they have a loft in them, then I may not even bother building a cat house, except maybe for newcomer cats. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have like plans for different things, and then they kind of change over time. But anyways, so yeah, this is gonna be basically, it's still gonna be a 4-bedroom house. Although I thought about making it bigger because we have more goats now, and we're gonna keep having more goats. So I was thinking about maybe even making it even bigger than that. Building it 8 deep instead of just, 4 deep instead of just 2 deep, and have 8 bedrooms on each side, and have it 2-story, and have like 16 totes basically, which that'll be freaking huge. But the more goats we have, the more living quarters, the bigger the goat house is going to need to be. And like I say, each yard, we're going to be rotating them, every so many days. Like today's the 24th. We're a little late on rotating the goats, but I'm supposed to rotate them every 21 days. So we're rotating them over into that yard as of today, because I just got home yesterday. And unfortunately, David doesn't stay on top of things. He talks a good talk, but he doesn't actually follow through. So, yeah, it's up to me to do a lot of the following through stuff. But anyhow, So we're behind on the rotation again, but nonetheless, it's only a couple days. So these are going to be their houses. David thinks that, oh, we don't need the totes, we just need to, build the frame. But problem is, the frame collapses without extra support, and not only that, but then you don't have the windbreak, and stuff like that. This was the first goat house we built, and it was kind of cool at first, but it started collapsing, and so I put a second layer on it to reinforce it, and it worked out, but it's falling apart, and yeah, David was supposed to finish reinforcing or putting stuff on it and stuff, and he never did, so it just got neglected. But then I built this for the pigs when we had pigs, and it was supposed to be like a mobile home, so we can move the pigs, from yard to yard and whatnot, because they were originally in a different yard, and I didn't trust them to go to the next yard on their own, so I made this trailer for like a mobile home, and then and the goats love it. So anyways, it's starting to fall apart now too, so it's time to build another house. It's got maybe another year left on it, 2 years tops. But and then it was kind of funny and scary at the same time. This morning I went to let the goats out, and I heard Trig belly aching, and she already lost one leg. I was afraid she's got her another leg stuck and was gonna hurt herself, and she was up here belly aching while the other goats were down there. She looked like she was stuck, and she was. It was funny though. I ran up here thinking she was injured or something, and she just basically had her head stuck in here, and she couldn't get it out, and because the horns and stuff, and she was just stuck. She had her head stuck in there. It was kind of funny, but like I said, it freaked me out at first, and I ended up unwedging her, and she was happy. But anyway, so yeah, basically that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna build the goat house probably right in here, maybe even just right here. I don't know. Try to pick like the flattest spot to do it. But not too flat. I want a little bit of an incline so that, any kind of urine or whatever that they might, if they pee in their house, it'll flow away. It'll go down the holes in the totes and then drain off. And the holes in the tote, and putting the totes in there and then pooping in the totes and stuff will make it easier for us to clean them out. Like this whole thing is caked with goat poop. We need to come in here and scoop it up. But it's all all that poop and stuff will eventually rot out the wood. But which is probably why this is starting to get flimsy. But no, it's held together pretty good. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, we'll and I want to start using this trailer again soon for something, maybe a lawnmower or whatever, because it's kind of what it's designed for. The only reason why it's sitting back here is because David inherited it, so to speak, from his mother, but they never gave us the title. And in Missouri, you got to have a title for the trailer. So, but David, didn't want anything in his name. He's off the grid probably more than the Amish are, except he has technology. So he's off the grid more than the Mennonites are. Anyways, and so I didn't want anything in his name. So I was like, I asked them to send a title so I could put it in my name, and we can use it on the road. And her boyfriend or husband, I'm sorry, her new husband threatened to press charges against me for theft. And I'm like, what the fork, you know? And so I sicked my lawyer on him, and he backed off. But we never did get the title. And now his mom's passed away, and I'm sure he's burned the title by now because he's a pyro. He loves to just burn everything, destroy everything. So there's no title for this trailer now. So, but I do have two of our vehicles tagged in Kansas, and in Kansas we don't have to have a tag for the trailer unless it's like a 2-ton trailer or something like that, and or 6,000-pound trailer, something like that. But anyhow, so one of my trailers has a tag, and the rest of them don't. So that's why I got property, well, mostly family, over in Kansas. But I'm looking at buying another piece of property over in Kansas just so I can tag my trailers in Kansas and get around all that bull crap of that Missouri does. Because otherwise I got to get, I got all these trailers. David's got these trailers, and I got these trailers. I'd have to go get them all tagged and titled, and it's like, it's a pain in the butt for one, and it's more wasted tax dollars going to bullshit stuff that is probably unlawful in the first place, because our government's the biggest crooks and criminals out there. Why feed the beast any more than you absolutely have to? So anyways, so yeah, goat house, back to the goat house. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to do this winter, work on this winter, is figuring out how I'm going to do a 8 or 16 bedroom goat house, much like that one over there. But again, like I said, I need it to be bigger. So, and David wants it taller so we can actually walk in there, which is a valid case. So, and then like I said, we may not, the goats won't be able to get up in there unless we build a ladder or something for them to get up in there. But then again, they're good jumpers. So who knows? They may be sleeping up on the top level. We'll find out. We'll find out. So anyhow, so that's that. Just thought I'd give a little update on what we're doing here with these empty totes. Basically, the cages, we got these from somebody else who uses the cages. And some of the cages we might be using for other things as well. But these basically had charcoal in them. And basically what they used it for was to dye mulch. And it's basically, they use 2 ingredients, charcoal and rust, to dye the mulch. And that's basically what was in these. So when the goats first start using these, they'll be black. Because they'll rub off all the charcoal on themselves. There's still some in there. Once I cut them open, we'll scoop the charcoal and rust out and put it somewhere else for something else. We haven't figured out what we're going to use it for yet, but it'll come in handy for something, I'm sure. So we're all about recycling and repurposing and composting and stuff. Some of this stuff will be good for like fertilizer. So I'll be mixing in some of the charcoal and rust into my fertilizer blends and put them in my compost and stuff like that. Here's some of it. Basically, that's just charcoal, and it's not really going to hurt anything. So the rust one might be more abrasive, but this charcoal one it ain't gonna hurt nothing. It's just wood, basically. So, all right, we're at 20 minutes. Bye.